Hey guys, today we're wrapping up our series where we've been looking at the book of Hebrews and some of our favorite games side by side and seeing what God can teach us through them. And this series has got me thinking of an old classic game in my extended family. It's called Dutch Blitz. Anyone ever heard of this game right here? My sisters and my cousins and grandma used to play this game for hours. And let me tell you what, I hated this game with a passion for years. And anytime someone suggested, hey, let's play Dutch Blitz, I would say, hey, let's not do that. Let's literally do anything else. And I'll be honest with you, I mostly didn't like it because I was really bad at this game and I hated losing. Anyone else hate losing? But I also thought the game was pointless. It's basically just stacking a bunch of numbers and hoping you get lucky and get the right numbers. And I'd say it's a game for old people and little girls as I was growing up. And the truth is, I just never understood how my cousins and grandma could play it for hours on end. Then one day, my grandma and my sisters took the time to really show me how to play and to give me some extra strategies on how to win in Dutch Blitz. I just needed a new perspective on the game. I needed their perspective on the game. The way I had been looking at it was all wrong all along. Long story short, now I'm the one who says, hey, let's play Dutch Blitz. And here's the reason I tell you that story. It's because sometimes things we might see as pointless can become important when we change our perspective. And you know, a perspective is just the way that you look at something. So when I looked at Dutch Blitz in a brand new way, it had a brand new value and importance for me. And the same thing can happen for us when we talk about reading the Bible. And this is so important right now as we look at one more passage in Hebrews. It's actually an entire chapter, the 11th one. And it's one of my fave chapters in the whole Bible. And sadly, we don't have unlimited time together today, so we're gonna summarize a little bit of this chapter. And the chapter is all about faith. Not just faith, big faith. People who really succeeded when it comes to having faith in God. And some people even like to call this chapter the Hall of Faith. You know, like the Hall of Fame, but it's the Hall of Faith, get it? It's pretty clever. But it's all about the incredible things that God can do through people who have faith. So listen to this list of people who had faith. Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Sarah, Abraham again, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, the people of Israel, Rahab, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and all the prophets. Whew! That is an impressive list. And even if you don't spend a lot of time reading the Bible, this is a chapter I think you should read. It is so interesting. But you also may look at this list and think it's kind of pointless to you. You may look at the list and think, well, yeah, those are the heroes of the faith. Like this is the Batman and the Captain Marvel of the Bible, and I have nothing in common with them. And if that's what you're thinking, I understand, because I used to think that too. But we're actually wrong about that. God can use anyone he wants, and he wants to use everyone for good things to happen in the world. Check it. David is on this list. And David was just a young boy when God called him to follow him, and eventually, David became the king of Israel as a teenager. God doesn't see you as less just because you're young. You also may look at this list and think, okay, but I'm not Sarah, I'm not Noah, I'm not Abraham. Like I don't have faith like them. And that's true, you are not them. But you've got the power of Christ in you if you've chosen to accept Jesus as your Savior. Which means you are capable of way more than you could possibly imagine. I'm building up a big case here. Here's what I'm getting at. We can learn from anyone. Whether you think you're better or worse than the people that are on this list in the Hall of Faith, you can learn from them. Their stories are worth reading because if God thought they had such great faith that they should be included in the Hall of Faith, then we should be trying to find out what gave them that type of faith. And here's the application for us. Whether you think you're better or worse than some of the people at your school, you can learn from them. Whether you think you're better or worse than your siblings, you can learn from them. I learned Dutch Blitz from my sisters and my grandma, and I love it now. Whether you think you're better or worse than the other kid in your group that bothers you and gets on your nerves, you can actually learn from that person. We have something to learn from every person. So, as we wrap up this series, I want to tell you what we believe about you here at Collide. We believe you can change the world. We believe you're capable of understanding complex things. We believe that you can do so much more than even you think you can. But no change you bring or knowledge you gain will mean anything if Jesus isn't part of it, and if you aren't constantly learning from the people around you. So, this week, I want to challenge you to read through Hebrews chapter 11. And while you do, pray that God teaches you something through these great examples of faith.